The white silk feels like a lie between my fingers. I smooth the fabric over the mannequin, my heart hammering a rhythm of pure, concentrated irony. I am Clara Vance, the most sought-after wedding planner in the city. People pay me six figures to curate their happily ever after. But today, I'm curating my own execution. My best friend, Sarah, is standing in the center of my studio. She looks like an angel, a blonde, glowing, wide-eyed angel who has been my shadow since we were 6 years old. We shared everything: secrets, clothes, dreams. I just didn't think we'd share a husband. Clara, stop being a perfectionist. Sarah giggles, tossing her hair. It's just a bustle. He's going to love it anyway. You know how he is about me. Every word is a needle under my fingernails. She hasn't said his name in my presence for 6 months. Not since she sat me down in a coffee shop, held my shaking hands, and told me she was engaged to Julian. Julian, my ex-husband of 7 years. The man who told me he needed to find himself during our divorce mediation. It turns out he found himself in my best friend's bed. I pin the lace with a steady hand. My face is a mask of professional neutrality. I've spent a decade building my reputation. I am the girl who handles the crisis, who fixes the fallen cake, who mends the ripped veil. I am the rock. I want the best for you, Sarah, I say, my voice smooth as glass. That's why I took the job. No one knows your taste or Julian's better than I do. She beams at me, a flash of genuine, terrifying warmth. She actually thinks we're okay. She thinks that because I didn't scream or throw acid in her face, I've forgiven her. She thinks my silence is acceptance. I knew you'd understand, she sighs, stepping off the pedestal. True friendship survives everything, right? Even the messy stuff. I look at her reflection in the three-way mirror. Behind her, I see the ghost of the woman I used to be, the one who trusted her blindly. That woman died the day the invitations went out. Of course, I whisper. That was the moment everything changed. I watch her walk away, her laughter echoing in the high ceilings of my atelier. She has no idea. She thinks this is a wedding. She doesn't realize I'm actually planning a funeral for every lie they ever told me. The planning process is a slow-motion car crash. Sarah wants the golden hour theme. Sunset colors, champagne towers, and a venue that screams opulence. It's the exact wedding I wanted when Julian and I eloped at a courthouse because he claimed he was too focused on his career to afford a party. Now, suddenly he's a big spender. He's buying her the world with the money he shielded from me during the divorce. I meet Julian at the venue for the final walkthrough. The air between us is thick, toxic with history. He looks at me with a mix of pity and arrogance. He's wearing a watch I bought him for our 5th anniversary. Clara, he says, his voice dropping into that low, soothing register he used to use when he was gaslighting me about his late nights at the office. I appreciate you doing this. I know it's unconventional. It's business, Julian, I reply, flipping through my clipboard. The florist needs to know if you want the peonies or the orchids. Sarah likes the peonies, he says quickly, but you always liked the orchids. Maybe we should go with orchids, to show there's no hard feelings. He actually smiles, a small, smug twist of the lips. He wants me to be the cool ex-wife. He wants to believe he's such a catch that I'm willing to serve him appetizers while he kisses my replacement. The bride gets what she wants, I say, my pen digging into the paper until it tears. That's the rule. I remember the night our marriage ended. It wasn't a blowout fight. It was Julian sitting on our Italian leather sofa, looking at me with dead eyes, saying, I just don't feel the spark anymore, Clara. You're too focused on work. You've become a stranger. 3 weeks later, I saw him at a bistro with Sarah. They weren't just talking. They were leaning into each other, a private language of touch and whispers that clearly hadn't started yesterday. I felt invisible. For months, I watched from the sidelines as they went public. My mother called me, crying, asking how Sarah could do this. My brother offered to break Julian's nose. I told them all to stay quiet. I told them I was moving on. The truth is, I was moving into position. "You're a good person, Clara," Julian says, reaching out to touch my shoulder. I flinch before he can make contact. His eyes darken. "Still sensitive? I thought you'd be over it by now." "I'm a professional, Julian. Don't mistake my silence for weakness." He chuckles, that hollow, condescending sound. "I never did. That was the problem. You were always too strong. Sarah, she needs me. She lets me be the man." I watch him walk toward his luxury SUV. He doesn't see the way my hands are shaking. He doesn't see the folders in my bag, the ones containing the financial records he thought he'd scrubbed. I trusted them. I gave them my heart and my loyalty. And they traded it for a secret affair in the dark. They thought I wouldn't fight back because I'm the fixed-it girl. They're about to find out what happens when the person who knows all your secrets decides to stop keeping them. 3 days before the wedding, I'm in my office at midnight. The lights are dimmed, the only glow coming from my laptop screen. I'm looking at photos, not wedding photos, private photos. A friend of mine, a private investigator I hired the moment Sarah asked me to plan this farce, sent me a final encrypted file. It's a series of timestamps and locations. Hotel rooms. The summer house Julian told me was under renovation. The timeline goes back 2 years. 2 years before our divorce. They didn't just fall in love after we split. They were building their life on the ruins of mine, while I was still cooking him dinner and asking about his day. While I was holding Sarah's hand through her bad breakups with men who didn't exist, distractions to keep me from noticing her real target. I feel a physical weight on my chest. It's hard to breathe. The betrayal isn't just a sting. It's a drowning. I think about the nights Sarah stayed over at our house because she was scared to be alone. I think about the times I left them together in the living room while I went to bed early to finish a proposal. I can practically hear their muffled laughter through the walls of my memory. I reach for a glass of wine, but my hand slips. The glass shatters against the hardwood. Red wine spreads like a bloodstain across my white rug. I trusted them. I whisper to the empty room. The words taste like ash. I find myself scrolling through Sarah's social media. She's posting bride-to-be countdowns. So, blessed to marry my soulmate. Truly grateful for my amazing best friend at Claravance events for making my dreams come true. The comments are filled with heart emojis. People think we're a testament to mature friendship. They have no idea they're watching a predator wear the skin of a victim. I look at the broken glass. I could stop this. I could call the vendors, cancel the permits, and vanish. I could leave them with a half-finished wedding and a mountain of debt. But that's too small. I want them to have the wedding of their dreams. I want them to stand in front of everyone they know, their families, their business partners, the press, and feel the exact moment the ground vanishes beneath their feet. I realize I'm crying, not because I'm sad, but because the Clara who believed in happily ever after is finally, officially gone. She's been replaced by a woman who understands that in this world, you are either the architect or the debris. I pick up the phone and call my lead technician for the wedding visuals. The montage for the reception. I say, my voice steady now. I'm sending you a new drive. I've made some creative edits. Do not open it. Just load it into the master sequence for the 8 p.m. toast. It's a surprise for the bride. You got it, Clara, he says. She's going to be floored. She will. I agree. She absolutely will. The day before the big day, Sarah insists on a final bridal lunch. Just us. She says she wants to honor our bond before she becomes a missus. We sit at a secluded table at the Waldorf. She's wearing a white sundress, looking every bit the innocent ingenue. She hands me a small, wrapped box. Open it, she urges, her eyes sparkling. Inside is a gold bracelet. Engraved on the inside are the words, "Sisters by Choice." I feel a wave of nausea, so strong I have to grip the edge of the table. The audacity is breathtaking. She's not just a liar. She's a sociopath who enjoys the performance of being my friend. It's beautiful, Sarah, I say. I wanted you to know, she says, leaning in, that I know how hard this has been. I know it's weird that it's Julian, but we couldn't help it. Love is just messy. I'm glad you're big enough to see that. Oh, I see everything now, I reply. I decide to test the waters. So, Julian told me he's finally cleared up all those old business debts from the divorce. He's really invested a lot in this wedding. It must be nice to have that kind of security. Sarah's smile falters for a fraction of a second. Oh, yes. He's been very successful lately. New offshore clients, he says. Offshore. My heart leaps. The private investigator mentioned offshore accounts. Julian had told the divorce court he was nearly bankrupt, which is why I walked away with almost nothing while he kept the firm. That's wonderful, I say, because I was looking at the vendor contracts, and I noticed some of the payments came from an account listed under JV and SV Holdings. That's been around for years, hasn't it? Sarah pales. The SV obviously stands for Sarah Vance, her maiden name. I think that's just a new thing he set up for us. She stammers. I don't really handle the finances, Clara. You know I'm a creative soul. She's lying. I know it. She's been his accomplice in hiding assets for years. They didn't just steal my husband. They stole my future, my hard-earned equity, and my dignity. I reach into my bag and pull out a refined floor plan for the reception. Don't worry about it. Let's focus on the seating chart. I've moved your parents to table 1, right next to Julian's biggest investors. We want everyone to see the real you tomorrow. You're the best, Clara. I don't know what I'd do without you. You're about to find out, I mutter under my breath. What was that? I said, the flowers will be out of this world. I leave the lunch feeling a strange sense of calm. The discovery of the joint holding company was the final piece. It's not just a story of a cheating husband anymore. It's a story of fraud. They thought I was the fixer. They thought I'd spend my life making sure their seams didn't show. That was the moment everything changed. I'm not fixing the wedding. I'm dismantling the fortress they built on my back. Tonight, I'll sleep like a baby. Tomorrow, they'll wish they never met me. The morning of the wedding is a whirlwind of controlled chaos. I am the general on the battlefield. I'm barked orders at florists, directing the lighting crew, and ensuring the special guest list is handled with extreme care. I invited some people Sarah and Julian didn't expect. A local investigative journalist who specializes in white-collar crime. My old divorce attorney, who has been itching for a reason to reopen the discovery phase. And, of course, Julian's ultra-conservative grandmother, who holds the keys to the family trust and has no idea the love of his life was his mistress while he was still married to me. I walk into the bridal suite at 2 p.m. Sarah is in the middle of hair and makeup. She looks like a queen. Clara, look at the view, she exclaims, gesturing to the floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the park. It's perfect, I say. I hand her a glass of champagne. To the end of an era. To new beginnings, she corrects me, clinking her glass against mine. I spend the afternoon being the perfect servant. I lace her into the dress. I fix her veil. I even hold her hand when she gets pre-wedding jitters. Do you think he'll be happy? She asks, looking at herself in the mirror. I think he's going to get exactly what he deserves, I tell her. Downstairs, I see Julian. He's in the ballroom, preening in his tuxedo. He pulls me aside, away from the hovering waitstaff. Clara, look, I want to give you a bonus. For everything. You've been a real sport about this. He tries to slide an envelope into my hand. I look down at it. It's thick. Keep it, Julian, I say, pushing his hand back. I've already taken what I need from you. He frowns. What does that mean? It means the production value of this evening is going to be priceless. I walk away before he can ask more. I head to the tech booth at the back of the ballroom. My lead tech, Marcus, looks at me with a nervous expression. Clara, I saw a glimpse of that file when I was rendering it. Are you sure? This is nuclear. Push the button when I give the signal, Marcus. Not a second before, not a second after. I'm paying you to be the trigger man, not the conscience. Copy that, he says, swallowing hard. I take a final walk through the ballroom. The tables are set with gold-rimmed china. The orchids, my favorite, not hers, are everywhere. It looks like a dream. They thought I wouldn't fight back. They thought I'd take the bonus and fade into the background, the pathetic ex-wife who was too professional to cause a scene. But I'm not just a planner. I'm a storyteller. And tonight, I'm telling the truth. The guests begin to arrive. The music starts, a soft, romantic violin quintet. I stand at the back of the room, my arms crossed, watching the trap set itself. The hunt is over. The harvest begins. The ceremony is beautiful. There are tears. There are vows about honesty and soulmates. I stand at the back, a ghost in a black jumpsuit, watching Julian pledge his life to the woman who helped him lie to me for years. Then comes the reception. The champagne flows. The mood is electric. Julian's grandmother is seated at the head table, looking regal. The journalist is at table 12, already taking notes. It's time. Julian stands up for his groom's speech. He's glowing. He's charming. He thanks the guests, he thanks his parents, and then he makes the fatal mistake. And finally, Julian says, looking toward the back of the room, I want to thank our amazing planner, Clara. She's not just a professional. She's been a friend to us both. Clara, come up here. The spotlight swings to me. The room applauds. I walk onto the stage. I take the microphone from his hand. He smiles at me, expecting a graceful toast. Thank you, Julian, I say into the mic. My voice is steady, amplified by the $20,000 sound system he paid for. I've spent months planning this day, because I believe that a wedding should be a reflection of the couple's journey. And Julian and Sarah have had such a fascinating journey. A few people chuckle. Sarah looks confused from her seat. I wanted to share a tribute to that journey. I continue. A look at the foundation of this marriage. Marcus, if you please. The lights go out. The giant LED screens behind the head table flicker to life. It starts with a video. Not of them, but of the security footage from Julian's office 2 years ago. The date is clearly visible in the corner. October 14th, 2024. 6 months before our divorce. The room goes silent as they see Julian and Sarah on the desk. It's not safe for work, but it's clear enough to be damning. Clara, stop this. Julian shouts, reaching for the mic. I step back, gesturing to the security guard I hired, the one told to keep the stage clear. The screen changes. Now, it's a scrolling list of bank statements. The JV and SV Holdings account. It shows transfers from Julian's failing business into a private fund for Sarah, totaling over $3 million. The grandmother stands up, her face white with fury. The journalist is filming the screen with his phone. The next slide is a series of texts. Sarah, does Clara suspect yet? Julian, no, she's too busy working to pay our mortgage while I'm with you. She's clueless. The silence in the room is deafening, broken only by Sarah's sharp, panicked sob. This is the soulmate connection Julian mentioned. I say, my voice cutting through the air like a blade. A relationship built on fraud, infidelity, and the systematic theft of my life. I didn't just plan your wedding, guys. I planned your deposition. I drop the microphone. The feedback screech echoes through the ballroom. I walk off the stage. Julian is frozen, his mouth agape. Sarah is curled in her chair, her expensive veil tangled in the silk she was so proud of. The guests are in a frenzy. Julian's grandmother is already shouting at him about the family trust. My attorney is walking toward the head table with a stack of papers. I walk through the crowd. People part for me like I'm the Red Sea. Some look horrified. Others look like they've just seen the greatest show on earth. I reach the heavy oak doors of the ballroom. I don't look back. I don't need to. The perfect illusion has shattered into a million jagged pieces, and I'm the only one not bleeding. I'm sitting on the balcony of a hotel room I booked under a different name, 3 towns away. The night air is cool. I have a glass of the most expensive scotch on the menu. My phone is blowing up. Breaking news alerts. Local developers' wedding ends in scandal and fraud allegations. Hundreds of texts from friends who suddenly want to be on my side. Voicemails from Julian, ranging from screaming threats to pathetic begging. I delete them all without listening. The aftermath is going to be long. There will be court dates. There will be a massive restructuring of my divorce settlement. Julian will likely face charges for the hidden assets. Sarah's reputation as the sweet girl next door is incinerated. She'll never show her face in this social circle again. But that's just the noise. The real victory is the quiet. For the first time in years, I don't have to manage anyone else's lies. I don't have to be the fixer for people who were breaking me behind my back. I look at the gold bracelet Sarah gave me. Sisters by choice. I toss it into the trash can by the desk. I feel lighter. The anger is gone, replaced by a cold, clean clarity. I lost my best friend. I lost the man I thought I loved. I lost the family I was trying to build. But as I watched the sun begin to peek over the horizon, I realized I didn't actually lose anything that was real. I only lost the weights that were holding me underwater. I am Clara Vance. I'm no longer the woman who plans other people's dreams. I'm the woman who builds her own reality. I take a sip of the scotch. It burns, but it's a good burn. It tastes like freedom. Sometimes losing your family is the price of finding yourself. What would you do if your happily ever after was curated by the very person who destroyed your marriage? I wrote this story because I wanted to explore the dark intersection of professional poise and personal devastation. It was inspired by the terrifying reality that sometimes the people who know our secrets best are the ones most capable of using them against us. After years of producing audio dramas, this particular narrative felt different. It's a raw look at what happens when a woman forced into silence finally decides to speak. The tension builds from the moment my protagonist agrees to plan her best friend's wedding to her own ex-husband. You will hear the mask of professionalism begin to crack as hidden financial betrayals and years of manipulation come to light. I promise an emotional journey that moves from the crushing weight of invisibility to the sharp, cold clarity of reclaiming one's power. Please listen closely, as the smallest details lead to the most explosive revelations. If this story resonates with you, like the video and subscribe to the channel for more explorations of family conflict and justice.